Hello, so welcome to another reading vlog. This week we've got a couple of things going on. Firstly, this is my last 4 days of work. Actually, this is the end of the day, so I've only got 3 more days of work, then my contract finishes and I am not going to work for the next little while, or maybe I'm going to work but in a different way. I haven't really worked out the details, but April is going to be a month of just doing whatever the hell I want, and I'm really looking forward to it. I just have to make it through 3 more days of work, but I've pretty much done all the stressful stuff that I have to do for work, so really now I'm just like tidying up loose ends. It shouldn't be that stressful, which means I can put a lot more energy into reading. So let me think about the things that I'm reading, because there's actually a lot going on. Firstly, I'm about a third of the way into The Blood Mirror by Brent. This is the 4th book in the Lightbringer series. It's a 5-book series, so I'm very close to the end. I am in April going to finish the series off. But this week, we're just going to read the 4th book. It started out, we're back in the shitstorm that we were in at the end of the 3rd book. This series is about this world where there's color-based magic, so people can draw different colors of light. Most people can just draw one color, but some people can draw more. And there's also this religious figure called the Black Prism who can draw all the colors. Our Black Prism, however, is not who everyone thinks he is, and since the 1st book he's had a lot of shit to deal with, a lot of conflict in the kingdom that he's had to deal with, but also a lot of secrets he's trying to keep, and secrets that he's supposed to know but he doesn't know. There's a lot of other politics going on, and each book has kind of expanded on the magic in a really interesting way, so I'm really interested to see what this 4th book is going to do. To be honest, all our characters are in dreadful positions at the moment, so I only expect that to get worse throughout this book, because the 5th book's where it's all going to come right, I hope. But this book, we're going to accept everything's going to get worse. I just hope that more of our characters will survive than possibly the last book. I can think of at least a few things that happened that weren't ideal. So I'm going to continue that. The other audiobook that I have... Wait, I'm forgetting my plans. I wrote it down. So the other audiobook that I am going to read this week is Dune Messiah by Herbert. So this is the 2nd book in the Dune series. To be honest, the very last sentence of Dune made me really mad after being really surprised how much I liked the rest of the series. So I'm a little bit conflicted about continuing. However, I'm just really curious about the series and where it goes. I feel like I've read a little bit about the world and it seems like there's a lot of really interesting ideas. So I guess I just want to have the ideas even if I don't like everything about the story. Primarily in this, we've got this family who have been given control of this planet and I guess this kingdom that's spread across multiple planets. But they've basically been given it as a punishment. They're expected to really struggle, but in some ways they do, and in other ways they do quite well. There's also people with like different psychic abilities, all kinds of like secret organizations and corruption going on. There's betrayal, cool science technology stuff. There's a lot of really interesting stuff going on, but also some things I don't really like. So we're going to listen to it and we're going to see whether we like it. As well, I have some physical books to read this week. I'm going to be continuing with Child of Flame. Those of you who've been watching my vlogs for a while know I've been trying to read this for a long time. But I put it on my Orilium Readathon TBR so that I will be forced to read it in April if I want to be an alchemist. Since I'm not working, hopefully I'll have more time and I'll be able to get through it. But I've also kind of planned that I wouldn't get through it this week. I've got next week as well. That's my plan. We'll see. This is an epic fantasy with like a million things going on. So basically battling over the kingdom while there's all kinds of dark magic and magical creatures with their own schemes going on. I'll tell you little bits as we get to them. I think is the easiest way to deal with that series. And then I have a few other things. I'm going to read this one, Karen's School Picture. It's just a Babysitter's Club graphic novel adaptation. I've been reading these. I've been enjoying these. I just picked it up from the library today. It should be a super quick read. So I might even read it before April starts because I didn't manage to fit this in against an Orilium reading prompt. So it really doesn't matter when I read it, and it's probably best to read it while I have not quite as much brain power because I've been working. I wonder if that'll actually work. Maybe once I finish my contract, my brain will just say, oh good, we're done, and turn off. But we'll see. The other thing that I am going to try and read a little bit of every day in April is these two books that are on my Orilium Readathon TBR. So firstly, we've got Ariel by Sylvia Plath. It's basically a poetry collection that I really loved when I read it in high school, and I'm hoping to fall in love with it again. But I had to think about it, and I think the best way to do poetry is to read one a day. I'm gonna wake up every morning. Actually, I think I counted, and there's like 40 something poems. So every morning and every night, I'm going to read the next poem, dance around my house, really enjoy it, really find the way of reading it that makes me really enjoy it. Just think about the poem. I think that's the best way to enjoy a poetry collection. So we're going to try that. And then as well, I've got this short story anthology. I haven't counted how many short stories there are. 28. So really, if I read pretty much a short story every day, then I should be able to get through it. And they're pretty short stories, although I'm actually, as I flick through this now, noticing that there's a couple of them, not many, but a couple of them that seem to be written entirely in Maori, which could be a bit of a challenge for me, but also maybe that's a challenge I want. Most of them are in English. So this is a short story by Huia Publishers, which publish Maori-authored books. I've really been loving a lot of books from them. They've been my best source of Maori-authored books that I enjoy. So to be honest, I mostly bought this because I thought the cover was pretty. But I'm also interested in reading kind of stories from a Maori perspective. And as well, stories that are probably more likely to be set in my own country, because sometimes reading books from overseas all the time with like all these assumptions that you'll know about these American concepts that you don't know gets a little bit tiring. So it'll be nice to read something from my own country. And I guess that's everything for this week, but honestly, it's probably enough. And I think that was the longest intro I've done for a vlog in ages. So let's just get into actually reading some books. Hello. So I made the quite ill-advised decision last night to stay up for my team's 1 a.m. release because I was like, wow, it'll probably be the last late night release that I'll get to do with them. Do you know releases at midnight or after midnight are not that much fun, so why did I think I wanted to attend the last one? I mean, we do sometimes kind of have a little bit of fun, but it wasn't that exciting, and as a result, I didn't get any sleep, and I had a nap just now, and I still kind of feel awful. So, what I think I'm going to do is go for a walk to get some fresh air, and then I'm going to try and go to bed early. I might read Karen's school picture because I'm not sure my brain is up for Child of Flame. I don't have any of my books here with me because I'm not that organized. My brain's not working. What I did manage to do last night though is, because the thing is I stay up for these releases and I don't really do anything. I just throw some emoji reactions in the chat. They're doing all the work. I'm just hanging out. So I am able to listen to my audiobook and play my mobile games while they do their stuff. And I did do some video organizing as well. So it wasn't entirely unproductive. But anyway, I am now halfway through The Blood Mirror. I feel like I should probably be reading it physically. I feel like a lot of the details are kind of flowing over me, washing over me, although that could have been that I just listened to like shitloads of it late at night. But anyway, I do feel like I'm missing some of the details. There was also like quite a big reveal, and I didn't feel like it had the appropriate weight. So then I was like, am I misunderstanding this? I don't know. I am quite enjoying the friend group of the orphan Kip and kind of what he's becoming. I really like stories where people are kind of becoming these legendary characters, but because you're following along with them, you know that they're not really as miraculous as other people perhaps believe. And I am also enjoying the story of Karis. She was this woman kind of known as the woman that got between these two brothers, but she's now in a leadership position and she's kind of getting her own back in a lot of ways. There's still some funny things. I feel like Brent Weeks tries to hit some serious issues, I think he's trying to address sexism and fat phobia, but the way that he addresses these serious issues is perhaps not entirely hitting the mark. Because it's almost like he just includes a whole bunch of problematic content, but he doesn't, I think, emphasize enough the problems with this stuff. Although it's kind of there. It's not awful, but like, I know some people think it is awful. As well, there is some weird sex stuff in here. Like, at the beginning, I was kind of like, I've had a few too many erections in this book, thanks. Especially there's one character having kind of a weird thing going on. I have read that the author explains it a bit in the afterword and that makes a difference, so I'm going to hold off until I've heard what he has to say about it before I judge it. Again, I think it might be him trying to address a serious issue and just not quite hitting it properly, or like describing things in a weird way. But I am still enjoying all the intrigue and the twistiness, so I will listen to that while I go on my walk. And I guess that's all for now. Hello, so today is a super weird day because it is my last day of work. It kind of doesn't feel real. Such a weird situation because even though like I am looking forward to a break, I was feeling really burnt out. It also wasn't really my idea to end my contract, but at the same time, most people at work still want me to stay. They did talk about creating a special role for me, but by then I was already too ready for a break. And like they changed my contract role to a permanent role. I didn't want to become permanent, so they've replaced me with a permanent person. It's all very strange. I'm leaving, which I don't necessarily want to leave. I want to not work, but I don't necessarily want to leave, and people don't want me to leave, so like it's a weird goodbye. Also, remote working. My boss said, let's just wait till we're back in the office sometime for you to bring back your laptop. So I don't really have any work to do today. I'm trying to find things to do that are kind of useful, but knowing that like beyond today, I won't be able to follow anything up. So like, what is even useful at this point? I don't really know. I do have like a farewell video call later, which will be super awkward, I'm sure. And then a couple of meetings in the afternoon, but I'm kind of just there in case I'm useful. Not really like actively participating because now other people have taken over. It's just a weird day. And I don't know that I even feel like it's real yet. Like I can let go of work. I guess we'll see how I feel by the end of the day or like tomorrow, or I don't know when it's going to feel real. Anyway, let me catch you up on my reading. I did the other night read this Babysitter's Club Little Sister one, and once I got into it, I remembered this is the one where Karen gets glasses. I actually remember reading this when I was a kid. Probably I was like 7 or 8. It was a long time ago, but I do remember reading it. So in this one, there's a class picture coming up and Karen ends up having to get glasses because she's got headaches. And then this one stupid boy bullies her about it. I don't really know that I 100% liked the way that the bullying was represented. And honestly, that bit didn't stick with me at all from when I was a kid. The main thing that I remembered from when I was a kid is that she needed glasses both for reading and for like regular use. So she had 2 pairs of glasses and one was pink and one was blue, and the concept of having pink and blue glasses was just so cool to me. And even though I didn't really want glasses because I knew that I would never get pink and blue ones that would be that cool, still I thought it was really cool that she got these pink and blue glasses. But in this one it was a little bit messed up. She only ends up getting pink glasses, and there was some hint in the way that she was like being diagnosed that she was going to need both kinds of glasses, but then she ended up just getting 1 pair of glasses. And I don't know, maybe modern now it would always be like bifocals or something, but they didn't talk about like, here's how bifocals work, which I feel like would be too complicated for a kid anyway. So I don't know, that was a bit confusing, and I was sad that she didn't get pink and blue glasses. She only got pink glasses. But still, it was a lot of fun. Some interesting stuff about getting glasses and about how it doesn't really change you. You're still you, but also some stuff about dealing with bullying. Yeah, it was okay. My work laptop just turned off, so the lighting has changed. Let me wake it up because I am supposed to be working. So I should keep an eye on things in case something exciting happens. The other thing that I've been reading is Blood Mirror. So I'm about 75% of the way through. I'm going to try and finish it off tonight. I'll go for a long walk or something, maybe. Though I would say probably the last quarter of the book, I haven't felt as engaged in what's happening. I feel like stuff is happening, but it's not really progressing the bigger story. We have had a few interesting reveals about the Black Prism, but I'm still not, I guess I'm waiting for that to actually lead to some action or some consequences and understand how, as more people learn about it, how they're going to react to it, whereas so far it hasn't really been out fully. But I guess I'll try and finish that tonight and we'll see what we think. I also haven't read any of Child of Flame. I just think it's a terrible book for reading at night because I can't read it in bed comfortably. So I'm going to try some day reading tomorrow maybe, because tomorrow I don't have to work. That doesn't feel real yet, but we'll see how tomorrow works out. I'm trying not to make any plans for tomorrow, but also it feels weird not to have made any plans for tomorrow. Anyway, I guess I better go do something workish. So I'll see you later. Hello, so I have finished work and that means it's over, kind of. It's a little bit annoying because my work keeps talking about potentially getting me back in for a particular purpose. And so that means I feel like I can't fully delete all my work problems from my head. And I kind of want to, but I also feel like I need to keep my options open. So I don't know. But anyway, it's nearly midnight and currently my desk is on the floor. All the things from the desk are over there. And everything's a big mess, so I don't know what I'm doing. I probably should go to bed. But do I leave this mess until tomorrow? I don't know. I packed up my work laptop and then there was this weird gap on my desk and it was annoying me, so I thought I would move towards my new desk setup that I guess I'm going to make. But like, now that I've destroyed everything, it feels like too much work to be doing at midnight. But anyway, let me sit down and I will update you on where I'm at with my reading. I have managed to finish, while I was destroying everything, I have managed to finish reading The Blood Mirror. And I will say, in the end, I feel like it redeemed itself a bit. I wasn't that sure on it. And I feel like part of the issue was that all of our main characters kind of all split up. And so we didn't get those interactions between their stories as much. But we did get a little bit more of that near the end. As well, there were quite a few big reveals, like new information. I actually had to pause the audiobook at one point so that I could actually process some of this new information because I needed to think about what does that mean? And I would say he's still definitely done the thing where this book has taken things to a new level. Maybe not as much as some of the previous books. But now things are set up for the last book, so it's going to be interesting to see how things wrap up. And I guess tomorrow I will finish tidying up this mess, and as well, I can start on my Orilium books because it will be the 1st of April. I think the hardest one is definitely going to be Child of Flame, but I have a few others that I'm excited to read. I don't feel like my brain's fully working right now, so maybe I'll tell you about them tomorrow. But I already talked about them. Did I? I don't know. It's midnight. I should be asleep. Although I don't have to get up tomorrow morning, so that's one good thing. I do better things with my time than trying to make you jealous. Why can't we move on with our lives? You say that I go out to get you off my mind. We've been done for a while now. Honestly, I'm fine. It's not a game that you are losing, but I'm with someone else and I'm not missing us. If I can't live without you, sue me. Somebody told me that you think I'm trying to make you jealous. I do better things with my time than trying to make you jealous. Why can't we move on with our life? Not trying to make you jealous. Not trying to make you jealous. I do better things with my time. I know you'd rather know. Hello, so it's Sunday and it's really weird. Jace's gone home to work and I just have like free time, kind of. I also have a massive list of things I need to do, including like actually writing that list down so it's not just an unknown amount of stuff that I need to do that I just keep remembering things over and over again and I get stuck in a loop of like, oh yeah, I need to do this and this and this and this. And like, what are even my priorities? What are my timelines? Like, are there things that I need to be doing right now that I'm not doing? Or is it fine if I kind of do nothing for a while? I don't really know. But I think what I am going to do today is write some lists, like I just said. And the other thing is I'm going to dye my hair. If you watch my videos for a while, you know I've had this dark hair for a long time, and I've tried a few times to lighten it. It's a little bit lighter at the roots, especially the grays. But I'd like to try again to lighten it. So I've got some bleach. What I think I'm going to do is actually like split off the underneath and just try and bleach the underneath and give it quite a lot of attention. And then, depending how that goes, I'm going to try and put in some Mystic Heather. I have my doubts as to whether this will work very well. I'm considering also putting some in my roots, but I feel like that might look terrible. I don't know. I kind of feel like the results are going to be terrible, but we're going to try it. I might regret it because next week I'm probably going to need to take my laptop and return it to work. And the idea of waiting until now was so that people wouldn't have to see me. But if I do it now today, maybe people will see me. But like also, I don't have to work with those people, so if they see my hair being a disaster, who cares? I might also regret it because I was going to film a video tomorrow. And if my hair's a disaster, is that a good idea? I don't know. But I know that one of the things I want to do with my time off is have hair of a colour that I enjoy. So that's going to be our top priority. Other things. Reading things. I have started listening to Dune. I don't actually know how far through I am. I'm only like 10% in. Not much has happened yet. What I've noticed is similar to the previous book, it kind of has like these little introductions to the chapters, which almost tell you everything that's going to happen in the chapter, which is kind of weird. And then the chapters themselves are very dialogue heavy, so there's not a lot of explanation or description, and you kind of have to figure out what's going on from what these characters are saying. There's a little bit of description, but not much. And so even though there's a lot of complexity and like amazing ideas in this world, it's often hard to put them together just because they're not properly explained. So it's weird because these introductions are almost over-explaining the plot to you, but then the world itself is not explained. So it's a bit weird, but anyway, so far what has happened is these characters are having a conversation about some conspiracy that they are making against Paul from the first book, and I guess kind of all his family. Everyone really still wants this drug that you can get from this planet because it's really important to their like psychic abilities that they've developed over time. So it's really weird because in a lot of ways these psychic abilities feels more like fantasy, but the idea is that this is set so far in the future that these fantastical psychic abilities have developed in humanity. And there's also this weird concept where it's people with like human blood that are the ones who are able to develop these psychic abilities. Anyway, I don't entirely follow the plot all the time. I don't remember who all the characters are. But I do kind of enjoy listening to this conspiracy talk. Sometimes I feel like I wish I could be the bad guy and have some kind of conspiracy to be a part of. But also I think I'd be terrible in a conspiracy because I'm no good at lying to that level. But I guess I'll try and listen to some more of that. And I'm going to go and dye my hair. And we'll see how much of a disaster it is. Hello, good morning. So it is Monday, my first proper week, I guess, of not working. So it should feel like, yay, I'm not working, but honestly, it just kind of feels the same as like a weekend day when I'm not working. And also, I still have like a big list of things that I want to do, so I don't exactly feel like I'm just mucking around. Which is fine because I want to get stuff done. Oh, I should say, so I bleached the underneath of my hair. To be honest, it looks a bit weird. But it did bleach better than I thought it might. So, I guess I'll do the rest at some point. I don't actually know when. I might still wait until after I've returned my work laptop to work because, it still might end up looking like a disaster. You never know. Another thing, my desk is now beautiful and organized. I mean, I've still got plenty of other messes around, but we're making some progress on tidying things up and organizing things and working out what the hell I'm doing. But let me update you on my reading before I go off and try and do some other bits and pieces. The main thing that I've been doing is listening to Dune Messiah. So I'm just past halfway now and I am enjoying it. It's like almost like a battle of wits between these people who are trying to bring Paul down, and Paul who's trying to work out how to make the world a better place. But there's all these psychic abilities that add like another layer of complexity to things. As well, there's kind of this secret society, this group that for a long time have been trying to basically breed the perfect person of this prophecy, and Paul's kind of ruining all their plans, which is fun. One thing I didn't really like is there's this one character that's kind of been sort of brought back from the dead, and I feel like he's older. I'm sure he's older. And then he had a kiss with this very young girl, and I was like, aren't you old? I really just don't like how a lot of older books will have these older men having relationships with younger girls, and I'm like, gross. But I don't know, maybe he's not as old as I think he is. No, but he was still alive when she was born, so he's got to be at least 20 years older than her. That's yuck. That's yuck. I don't like it. But I guess that's something you kind of have to put up with when you're reading older books, especially older books by men. So, the other thing I did start doing is I did start reading this short story anthology. I only really read the first two. The first one was written in Maori, so I really only read like a Google translation of it, which, I don't know that translation worked that well. I mean, I know what the story was about. It kind of was like a myth, but I think a modern myth, but I can't tell whether modern words just mistranslations. Yeah, I don't think I fully got it. And then the next one, what was it about? I've forgotten. I feel like I knew a second ago. Oh yeah, it was weird. I didn't understand what was going on. It was like this girl whose father had left her these robots that were like Winston Churchill and George Orwell, and they were asking her, what have you learned? And I feel like it's meant to be deep and meaningful, but I didn't understand what they were talking about. One thing I will note is these stories are, in fact, winners from like a short story competition. So these aren't necessarily well-known Maori authors. I'm hoping I'll find a few in here that I'll like, and then I'll follow up with those authors to see if they ever write anything else. But I guess I just need to reset my expectations that maybe these aren't going to be like the best of the best. I mean, the one I read was probably quite creative, and maybe if I thought more about it, I would understand it better. Also, I read it just before bed, and I feel like I forgot stuff when I fell asleep. Anyway, I'm going to read more of these stories probably tonight, but again, not too many at a time, and maybe not right before bed, because then I'll forget about it. I'm going to try and read some of this today on the couch, because I've decided this is not a book for reading in bed. So we'll see if I can focus on it when I do that. And I'm going to try and finish Dune today. Dune Messiah. Because it's not that long. I think I should be able to finish it. Hello. So, I did not manage to be quite as productive today as I hoped. But probably as productive as I expected. Because I just think my to-do list is too long. And I need to be realistic with myself that I'm not going to get through it all in the first week of not working. So, I had a really lovely nap. It was amazing. I didn't read this afternoon like I was hoping, and I don't know if I'm going to end up with any time today. But what I did do is I just filmed a video. So yay me, maybe I'll catch up on my booktube plans. But as well, I finished off reading Dune Messiah. I keep just calling it Dune, but it's Dune Messiah, the second book. And I'm conflicted. There are some parts about the story that I really like. It's very philosophical about leadership and really investigating this idea about if you know what's going to happen, how that almost boxes you into certain ways of acting. But I feel like a lot of the time, the woman in the story especially, kind of the men as well, to be honest, but the woman especially, I just like pawns in the plot. Cheney especially, like I feel bad for Zendaya actually having to be that character, because that character is so underutilized in the story, and it's like she's like set up to be this amazing person and then doesn't do anything except have children and be a wife, except she's not even a wife because they're not even married. Just like, it's weird. As well, Elliott, who has like almost all the same powers that Paul has, and he gets to be like the Messiah, and she's mostly just used again in this breeding program. She does play a bigger part, and I'm hoping that maybe in future books she gets to play more of a part, but who really knows. As well, the ending did surprise me a little bit. I didn't think things were going to go in that direction, so that was interesting. But also, I don't really know. I guess I kind of know what the next books might kind of be about, and I guess I'll pick them up. I think the world and the ideas are interesting. I just don't think that it's written in the best way, but that's possibly just because, like, it's a really old series. And I also would say, I think if I read it when I was younger, when I was much less fussier about the things that I read, then I probably would have liked it a lot more then as well. I will say, I am excited to see what they will do with it in the movies. I kind of hope that the movies are going to go beyond the first book. Like, if the movies are very successful, I don't know if the movies are planning to do all the books, but I feel like even if they're not, the second book is a more natural conclusion to Paul's story than the first book. Although also kind of a depressing ending, so I don't know. But there were definitely some parts where I thought the audiobook narrators weren't quite doing the scene how I could picture the actors from Dune doing the scene. I think because the ideas are there, the movie has a lot to work with, and so it could be really amazing. I'm looking forward to it. But anyway, I guess this is going to be the end of the vlog because I realize it's like the end of the week, or the start of a new week. So let me know if you've read Dune. Did you continue with the series? Are you interested in continuing the series? Do you like the series? Did you like the movie? And also, I'd love to hear from anyone who's read the Lightbringer series. I'm nearly up to the last book in that series too, so that's exciting. Otherwise, thank you so much for hanging out with me this week. I hope you're doing well, and I will see you next time.